Hello and welcome to Card Shop Insiders, a podcast where we combine decades of experience from both sides of the counter to take you inside the business of local game stores and collectible gaming hobbies. I'm Noah, and I play games, lots of them.
Hi, I'm John. I'm a 26-year veteran of this industry, and I'll be honest with you, I am not prepared today. It's going to be winging it because I just got back from vacation and I didn't have time to plan anything. But that's all right. I'm good at it.
All right, well, we've got lots of new stuff that we can hit on and cover to fill up our time today, John. And then we'll get maybe an update from you about how your trip was, and then we can wrap some things up on the episode. So let's go ahead and jump onto the news. As far as card shop business works go, there was a news article that I found that said that in Tennessee, 2 men in Halloween masks broke into a comic book store and stole $8,000 worth of game cards, was Magic cards. And they apparently were part of a string of robberies. They broke in, they knew what they were looking for, they broke the cases, they took all the cards, and then they walked out. They've both been arrested. They got put on bond.
Oh, they did catch him.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I got nice pictures of them here.
Okay.
I don't know how they caught him. One of them wore a nun mask from the Halloween movie, and the other one wore Michael Myers.
Huh.
So they thought they were getting away with it.
Cool.
They did not. But I thought, in terms of just a brief thought from you, maybe we'll talk about it more again in another episode. But as far as storage and security goes, you talked before about the need, if you had really high value singles in the stock, that you should put them away in a safe or something like that.
Definitely.
But what else do you do in the store to make sure that you're protected or taken care of in the event of something like this?
Well, you have to have some type of security cameras. That's a deterrent. I know they can be turned off remotely. Whoever is, has that technology skills can do that. But the most important thing is if you got somebody that's coming into the store that's new, and all they want to do is look around, common sense tells you they're cased into place.
Mm-hmm.
They're cased into place potentially for three reasons. Number one, they want to see what you carry, and maybe they're going to come back and buy some stuff in the future.
Yeah.
Number two, they're going to come back and try to steal something when you're not there. That's the second reason. And number three, they're potential store that want to open up a store of their own, and they want to check out the competition and see what you're doing. But again, it's situational awareness. You got to look at these people that are coming into your store that you don't know, especially if they come in tandem, because you'll have one that goes over to look at the card case, and then one will start talking to you and trying to keep your attention diverted while the other guy looks around.
Yeah.
Now, fortunately, most or all of my things, other than what's behind the counter, is under lock and key. The way I have my single cards mounted up on the wall have keys. So, excuse me, if anybody were to break into that, I would see that immediately. And it's on the camera.
Yeah. I mean, also, I think
excuse me,
one thing to note is glass storage is not a good idea. When glass breaks pretty easily.
Yeah.
There's a lot of synthetic clear materials that you can use for your storage cases. And a lot of the popular storage case options now are sold with kind of shatter resistant plastics that won't break and let you just kind of smash and grab.
Well, that's what all those cases, they're not glass fronts on them. They're
I wasn't going to give away your secrets.
No, they're plexiglass.
Yeah. So, I mean, that makes it a little bit harder. I mean, quite frankly, though, if someone's going to break in the middle of the night, they're going to have all the time in the world to break whatever they want.
True.
But, that's why you have an alarm system. That's why you have cameras. And that's why you try to protect your investment with good insurance and documentation to support your insurance claims eventually.
Insurance claims. We'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Another time.
All right. Second thing on the general gaming news that I had today was Upper Deck announced how they could, how a store like yours, an FLGS, a friendly local game store, can get into their newest TCG. I thought that was interesting. We've talked before about your perspective on how you get into these new games. We've kind of traveled with several new games over the last couple of months about how you've gotten into supplying those games and supporting those games. But Upper Deck put out a solicitation or an article through ICV2.
What's the game they're coming out with?
Neopets.
Neopets. Oh, yeah, that's going to be a real winner.
Yeah.
No wonder they're making it easy for the gaming stores to get into.
They're not making it easy, though. Like, you have to fill out the application, and so they want you to apply to become a certified diamond dealer. They say that having a certified diamond dealer status will give you access to carry Upper Deck products like the new Neopets TCG. Guaranteed customer care. You could be featured on Organized Play Event Finder. I mean, this is all stuff that you get from the other OP programs that you join. And so you can join their OP program, and they've given you a couple of tips to get approved. You should have a store that is accessible by having a traditional brick and mortar retail location. And you should be open to customers at least 35 regular hours per week. If you'd like to apply, click on our link and send in your application, and then you can look forward to stocking our latest and find out more with their website.
What games does Upper Deck have?
I don't know. You want me to look?
Let's look. Please.
Let's look it up.
Because
Upper Deck, trading cards, entertainment, Legendary, Marvel, Neopets, and the Verse system. The Versus system's a big.
Yeah, but I used to carry that at one time.
They've revived it.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, there's new Versus system stuff coming out, and then they have a bunch of the Marvel stuff. But Neopets Battle Dome TCG.
I'm going to order a whole bunch of cases of that.
Are you?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, I sure hope not.
And I'll make an end table out of them because they're not going to sell. That's for damn sure.
Well, they're cute little kittens and unicorns with fire horns. I mean, I don't know. This is the first I've even heard of this game, but it popped up on one of my news feeds, and it was like, your FLGS can join today to sell Neopets.
Let me ask you a question. You as a customer, would you buy Neopets for me?
No.
Okay. That solves that problem then.
Not a Neopets guy.
There goes my order. I just canceled my order.
Well, we'll wait. Maybe one of our Patreons will reach out and say like they were really looking forward to Neopets, and they'll change your mind.
They can go to another store to get it because we'll
give you referrals. Not sponsored by. All right. Actual cool news. Geek and Sundry, a YouTube channel that specializes in gaming, is doing a really cool new series where they are having high-profile celebrities learn how to play the Pokemon TCG. Mm-hmm. They started with Terry Crews. They moved over to the guy from Spider-Man. I forgot what his name is. Sorry, guys.
Austin something or other.
Jacob Batalon. And then Abigail Breslin is going to be the last one. But they're doing like a 3-part little series, and I thought it was kind of cool.
Terry Crews, huh? That's the only one I know of the 3.
Terry Crews is starting it off. Abigail Breslin is in like Zombieland and some other movies. She was a kid in the movie Signs. But yeah. Anyway, so they got an action hero, they got a girl, they got a comedy guy. Like, it's good. But I think it's cool. They've got they're a highly watched show. I think most people that watch Geek and Sundry are probably already familiar with Pokemon TCG. But the crossover, having somebody like Terry Crews sit down at the table and learn how to play Pokemon, definitely gets more exposure and is probably going to bring some people to look at the game that hadn't looked at it before. So I think that's an awesome resource.
They ought to have Post Malone come up and do something with Magic, since he's such a big Magic fan.
Well, he appears on some of the Magic YouTube series, the Commander ones.
He does.
He's a big Commander player.
Okay.
He's been on Game Nights. I think he's been on Brian Kibler's. Yeah. What else has he been on? He's been on a bunch of them. So he's kind of a regular.
And he's the one that bought that $2 million The One Ring card, the serialized one.
I don't think he has it in his deck.
Probably not.
All right. Well, there was big news, and I'm sure, I don't know if you even know about the big news. Did you hear about the big news in Magic with Commander?
I didn't hear anything. I was down at Disney. Yeah. I heard nothing but screaming kids.
Radio silence down there?
Radio silence, screaming kids. I turned off my hearing aid, so I didn't hear the screaming kids.
Let me give you some background, and then you tell me if you think it's going to have any effect on shops like you.
All right, go ahead. Okay.
So at the end of September, the Commander format, the multiplayer Magic format that's pretty popular. It's the widest played format in the game. Um, it has been run by a volunteer group of people called the Commander Rules Committee.
Mm-hmm.
And the end of September, they gave their monthly update, and they announced bans for the first time in like 5 years. And they banned 4 cards. Let me see.
Well, I heard they banned cards. That's
Okay.
basically it.
So the ban, they come out with Dockside Extortionist, Jeweled Lotus, Mana Crypt, and Nadu. Nobody's shocked about Nadu, but the Jeweled Lotus, Mana Crypt, Dockside combo, people are like really surprised by. And like the internet does internet things. People go nuts. People are angry. I mean, Mana Crypt was just the promo card in several different games or products that came out. Jeweled Lotus is a Commander exclusive card that has been printed in like a bunch of the Commander decks. Dockside just got printed in one of the Commander decks from Thunder Junction. Like they're expensive. Like Mana Crypts are like $100. Some of the promo ones were more. People get mad, right? It's the internet. So everybody grabs their internet pitchforks and they start yelling and screaming. So then the Commander Rules Committee resigns. Like they contact Magic at Wizards and they're like, hey, we can't do this anymore. Like internet people are threatening to kill us. Like our private addresses have been released on the internet.
Oh, really?
Like people are threatening. They call that doxing. Like they've released their private contact information on the internet. People are threatening to kill these people. They've accused them of financial fraud. People are making referrals to like government agencies to try to have these people investigated for possibly committing financial fraud of some kind.
It's gone that far.
Side note, I don't think you can commit financial fraud in the space of cardboard collectible games, but
wow,
good try. Anyway, people go nuts. There was a huge petition. Thousands of people signed it. And so Wizards of the Coast puts out a statement that says, nobody deserves to feel unsafe for supporting a game they love. Unfortunately, the task of managing Commander has far outgrown the scope and safety of being attached to 5 people. So today, in partnership with the members of the existing Rules Committee, we announced that Rules Committee is giving management of the Commander format to the game design team at Wizards of the Coast. So Wizards took over, like within a couple of days, which is an interesting thing for players to debate, like on its own. Like the independence of having the Rules Committee was something people liked and touted as a bonus of the format. People often criticize Wizards because they exist, so criticizing them is the thing to do. But now people are mad and taken to the internet because, Wizards has stepped in and taken over. And then, as a side to this same conversation, a lot of stores were put under pressure because they made sales, like in the days leading up to this ban, of hundreds of dollars worth of some of these cards. And people were reaching out and they wanted refunds. And several of the big retailers, Star City, Card Kingdom, had specifically said, if you bought one of these cards in the last few days, contact customer support. We'll take it back for a full refund, which I thought was pretty stand up on their part because their business, they have no reason to say, no,
They shouldn't have to, though. They shouldn't have to. They did it as a courtesy.
No, they did it as a courtesy, and I don't think it should be an expectation.
Right.
I do think it's a kind of weird precedent for stores to set. Like, hey, your cards go down in value after you buy them, so can you give them back and get money back? I don't think that's how it works. That's not how it works when you buy a booster pack, right?
Yeah.
Like, I opened a booster pack. I got $6 worth of cards on a $6 booster pack. I would like a refund because I wanted the $200 card. No.
You'd have to go see my credit manager, Helen Waite.
Yeah.
You remember Helen Waite?
Yeah.
Go to Helen Waite.
Yeah, Helen's nice. Anyway, so a couple of questions for you, John, as a store owner. So you run Magic Commander on Wednesday nights.
Mm-hmm.
You also have some people that do play on Saturdays occasionally. What do you anticipate an effect like this might be on people coming into the store to play Commander?
I'd leave it up to the players themselves. whatever they're comfortable in doing amongst themselves, I let them decide what cards are legal or what cards are not legal. They're here just to have fun. And we don't do competitive commander. So I take it out of my hands. And I'm saying to the guys, hey, one guy comes in, can I use proxies? I said, as far as I'm concerned, talk to the guys. If they'll let you use proxies, that's fine. You're here just to have fun. And that's my stance on it. And I think it's working well
Yeah.
because the group supervises it. It takes it out of my hands.
Yeah. I think that's fair to say, and I think that's a good way to handle it. I think if people choose not to play Commander because they feel like somebody else told them they can't play their favorite card, um, that's a personal choice. And if it's a problem, then it's a personal problem.
Right.
But if you can't have a conversation at the table like, "Hey, I'm playing with this card. Does anybody have a problem with it?" and understanding that that's veto authority for the table to be like, "No, you're not playing," then I think that's how commanders work for years.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know, guys that
they're
play
making it
have
too rigid. That's the
yeah.
problem.
Well, and everything's not competitive, right? Like you said, you don't run competitive
No.
commander. It's a free for all experience. You get to come in, you get to sit and play. Um, and that's what you're coming in and signing up for. It's not a tournament.
Right.
There's no prizes. There's no prize support. So if you're going to come in and sit down with a group of people and you can't work out socially how to function together, that's what's going to happen. But
You always have those exceptions where people are a pain in the butts. Uh, but the group usually handles that. And if the person that's a pain in the butt feels uncomfortable, he doesn't come back. That's fine. That
yeah,
doesn't hurt my feelings.
we already touched on it too. I mean, your thoughts on refunds for cards that you purchased. I mean, you're buying cardboard, and
Right.
its value is moderately arbitrary and connected to its use in a game. If it becomes not useful in the game, then it becomes less valuable, right?
So, yeah, that's true. And I'm not going to refund money. I'm not going to refund it.
Well, you don't sell online though. I mean, that's one of the big things. Like,
Well, I'll sell a couple of things online, but on eBay only.
yeah,
And it's the Wild West out there. Let the buyer beware. If they're buying a card that's going to be banned next week, it's not my problem.
well, I also think that there should be some sort of positive credit given to these companies that are saying like, look, let's do the refund.
Oh, I
I
agree.
mean, I think kudos to them, but they're $1 million company and you're not.
Well, they're doing it for customers' retention
Yeah.
because if the customer is unhappy with their purchase and there's say Star City Games said, hey, you're not getting a refund, tough. That person's not going to buy from Star City Games anymore, so they're going to be losing customers.
Right.
And that's a choice that they made as a big business, and I applaud them. It's a lot of work to do so,
Yeah.
and they got to do what they got to do to make sure their customer base is happy.
All right. Well, I want to talk about another Magic topic in just a minute. Before we do that, let's talk about some Yu-Gi-Oh notes. One of our patrons, Brian, sent over some notes for us to go over on Yu-Gi-Oh. He noted that there's spoilers and teasers for the new Rage of the Abyss that have been coming out and keeping the populace happy and interested in Yu-Gi-Oh. Oh, excuse me, little hiccups. Um, they kept them interested in Yu-Gi-Oh with those spoilers. There's also the Yu-Gi-Oh official YouTube channel had a broadcast last week that had new updates about the sets and things, and people are looking forward to having that new product come out. I guess the premiere events happened last week, right?
It just happened Saturday and Sunday. Stores were able to do it for the first time on Friday,
Mm-hmm.
Saturdays, and Sundays. Normally, it was only Saturday and Sunday. Now, I got back from my trip on Friday night, so I didn't do anything on Friday night naturally, but I did pre-schedule it where I did the two premieres on Saturday and Sunday, and they went very well. We didn't have a lot of people because there's other stores that did Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays also. But I sold out. And Brian, where the hell were you? I mean, You didn't show up for the premiere. However, I got more product coming in, and I could sell it beginning Wednesday. So it'll be here Wednesday, unless there's a weather delay or UPS screws it up. But I'll have it for sale on Wednesday night.
Cool. Well, I
Uh,
think that's good.
you want to talk about the premiere
What?
again? All right, let me expand on this.
Tell me more.
Very interesting. I had several players come in yesterday, and I'm not going to name the store where they have participated in, but they said that the packs were searched. They were evidently the boxes were mapped, and one store was able to figure out the mapping system and withdrew all those packs from those boxes that they got from the premiere. And what they did was they lined up these packs in a 3-row box, a storage box. And when somebody came in, they would hand them 5 at a time, 5 being a kit that, that's what your entry is 5 packs. But nobody got any of the good cards. The good cards were already in that store's case for sale, which they're not supposed to do anyway. They're not supposed to put those cards up until Wednesday. It's coming Wednesday because it's a premiere. It's a pre-release event.
So
that store, getting back to that store, the rumbling that I heard yesterday, they applaud the way I do it. I throw a box on the table. I open it up in front of them. I said, here, go pick whatever the hell you want out of it. They're really upset with this other store.
yeah.
Now, one guy said, well, I'm not sure if the owner of the store knew what was going on, but this is what the employee did. That shot their credibility, and that's going to hurt them more so than anything, just their credibility, because people are going to say, hey, they're not responsible, they think the customer is a dummy, that they're not going to see or not going to realize that all the good cards or the good packs have already been taken out of the stuff that they're getting.
Yeah.
And then I heard more stuff about OTS packs and things like that, how they distributed them.
Really?
Yeah. So it's obvious that the OTS packs are not all going to the store where they're supposed to be going, to store participants or OTS event participants. They got to be going out the back door somehow.
Because there's just not enough.
Yeah, I'm not going to name the store.
No, I don't think that would be appropriate. But I think as far as like the discussion goes, obviously it's an allegation, a conclusion that players drew. They seem to have gotten a good deal of information about what's there. Everybody opens up a bunch of packs and nobody opens any of the hits.
Nobody.
But the hits are all up on the case. That's pretty weird.
Nobody got anything.
We talked a few weeks ago, or maybe a month or so ago, about box mapping and its potential impact on stores. And I think this is just a big deal. Like, credibility is a big thing.
Yeah.
Sealed product is a gamble. It's a roulette game. You're getting what comes out of the packs. And if people are cheating, if the store is cheating to find out which packs have the valuable stuff in them, this goes to pack weighing. This goes to resealing. This goes to box mapping. All of those things I would consider to be dishonest practices. And it undermines the ability of a player to buy from those stores.
Yeah, if your integrity as a store or a store owner is challenged, you've got a problem. You've got a long-term problem.
Yeah.
Because if it happens to one person, they're going to tell 2. Those 2 are going to tell 4 more. And those, it's just exponential. Everybody's going to know about it. Because everybody that came in the store yesterday, I heard them chatting about it. And some actually come up to me and talk to me. Now, when I said I open up a box, I throw it on the counter. That's normally what I do. However, as soon as I heard mapping, I took the packs and shuffled them and then put them back in the box. And that precluded the person coming over to and say, oh, I want the 4th one down, I want the 8th one down, and so forth and so on. After I shuffle them, you can get whatever the hell you want out of the box. but they're shuffled, so it's a gamble for you.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a fair practice, and I think that makes it fair for everybody.
It
Fair for
does.
you, fair for them. They're getting what they're paying for. They're getting a pack of cards, and they've got a shot at the big cards.
Right.
But nobody, I mean, if somebody's gone and memorized the box map, they're not getting an unfair advantage. And like you said, a lot of times you open up boxes right in front of people to start selling packs out of. So it's clear there's no shady business going on with that. It's fresh box. Go ahead and have a good time. Um, all right, let's talk about our next topic real quick. Um, what I wanted to talk about, we have mentioned before, like organized play and incentivizing organized play.
Mm-hmm.
And, Pokemon had a big tournament a couple weeks ago. It was in Dortmund in Germany, and they had another TCG tournament. And this is a regional championship. So this is not world championships. This is like their second tier tournament, like semifinals kind of thing. And in that tournament, um, first place took home $10,000.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, second place took 7. Third to fourth place all got 5,000 each, and 5 through 8 got $3,000 each. I mean, this is part of a conversation we started before about prizing these big tournaments and about the fact that like Pokemon's throwing money at this and making it worth it to play in their competitive scene. And Pokemon ties their competitive scene all the way down to the local store. You get points at local events that can qualify you for higher tier things, moving your way up into things like these regionals. Um, as a related note, Magic announced in conjunction with Star City Games that starting next year, they are going to be running the Spotlight series of events. And in the US, Star City Games is going to get to run those events, and they're going to have big cash prizes. $10,000 plus a Pro Tour invitation.
For what kind of format did they announce that yet?
I think it's going to be different for each of the different tournaments. So they're giving out a promo card. It's a limited to. Oh, they're going to give out a second promo card to the top 128. First place gets 10 grand a Pro Tour invite, and then they also get what they're calling standard for a year, where they will get a single display booster box for every Magic release in 2025. Standard legal.
So I wonder if this is standard tournament format related. That's what it sounds like, because Wizards have been trying to push standard.
Yeah, standard format.
Yeah, that Wizards is trying to.
Well, I don't care. I mean, I think that's fine. I think it's cool that they're putting money behind this. 5 grand for second place, 25 for fourth, 1,000. 2,500 for third and fourth, 1,000 for 5 through 8. All of the top 8 get a Pro Tour invite, and then top 64 get paid out. So top 16 is going to get paid, top 32 gets paid, and top 64 gets paid in amounts from $350 to $750.
Well, I'm glad Wizards is continuing to throw out money or prizes for these big events. I think it's good, but again, their primary purpose is to reinvigorate the standard format, because standard that they blew it up a couple of years ago with some of the sets they came out with, and it wasn't a good format, and a lot of people dropped the format completely. And then they came up with this thing where your store championship had to be standard format. I'm not sure if they're going to continue doing that, but as of the last memo we got, yes, I think they're going to continue with that format. We'll see what happens. Nobody here likes standard. We have a few, but not enough to sustain a standard format event each week.
I mean, I understand why Magic wants people to play standard. Standard rotates, and standard means that you have to buy new cards.
Right.
I'm surprised that they haven't continued to support standard over the years in the way that they're trying to do now. They did make a push on like Friday Night Magic being draft for a long time was an official thing. They've had standard before. They had modern for a period of time. A lot of times stores cycle their local events based on what's going to be the Pro Tour format, because they would have a PTQ and then the Pro Tour.
All right. The whole name of the game is they want to sell products.
Right.
All right. What difference does it make if it's standard or if it's draft? If it's draft, people are still buying products or sealed buying products to draft with or to open up and seal with.
They've got to have some sort of a metric that people are spending more money on standard.
Could be. Could be.
I
Could
don't
be.
know. I don't know what the math is. I don't know what their numbers are, but they have to have a reason to want to push that. I mean, draft. You're right. Draft rotates too, right? Your draft format right now is what, Duskborn?
Dustborn.
So you're running Duskborn drafts.
We're running
A
Dustborn
month
drafts.
ago, it was Bloomborough.
But I'll ask the people this coming week, hey guys, are you tired of Dustmorn yet? Or do you want to wait till the end of the month and then we'll do whatever the hell you want to do? We'll go back to Bloom Barrel. Because Bloom Barrel was a very good set for drafting. Everybody liked it. We got the most attendance during Bloom Barrel. I mean, we've had, what did I say, 24 people one night drafting, which is good for a store this size. And I don't know. You have to make a decision as an individual store owner what your customers really want, and you got to ask them. They'll tell you. And if you try to impose something on them that they don't like, they're not going to show up.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
I mean, I will say I'm looking at the Magic article right now where they released it on Magic Online or magic.gg, covering the press release. And they did say that they will change the theme for the different events, but the first two are standard. It looks like they've also released that the one in March in the Netherlands is going to be modern. So it looks like they're using different formats. But I just think it's cool that they're putting like money behind the organized play of the events. And it gives people that want to be competitive incentive to be competitive. You know, we talked about that briefly a couple weeks ago that, you know, the organized play for these new games is kicking off. And it's not really clear what the pricing is going to be. They haven't announced other than some promo cards, like what Lorcana's pricing is going to be at the big competitive events. And Star Wars is leaving it to you. Well, not you because you're not running one, but the planetary qualifiers are having to prize their own events.
You know, they still have not sent us information. At least I couldn't find it about setting up the store showdown event. I got the showdown kit prior to me leaving on vacation, and this week I had to figure out what the hell I want to do, what I'm going to do, what date, and so forth and so on.
Well, people started running them this weekend.
Well, no, because originally people who had done it like a week or two ago got their kits from Asmodee. I got my kit from my distributor, Southern Hobby. So I did get it before I went on vacation. I just have to sit down and figure out a date that I'm going to publicize and give it at least 1 or 2 weeks notification to everybody through my info blast that, you know, we're going to do this. So we'll get attendance.
Yeah. Well, apparently the events are very poorly attended.
For Showdown.
For
the showdowns?
For the store showdowns in Lorcana and the set championships in Star Wars.
Really?
It's not Star Wars backwards, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The two new games. This round is the internet kind of says people are having low turnout. Some of the Lorcana tournaments have only had 8 people show up.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's product fatigue. You know, product fatigue being so many products coming out, so many sets coming out, that people just say, hey, I just cannot do it.
Yeah. I think that may be part of it. That's all I had, though, on terms of news. Well, other piece of random news. Pokemon, their next set to come out, released a press release showing that Pikachu is going to feature on their Elite Trainer boxes. And I thought that was interesting because I bet that means that box will be worth more than previous ETBs just because Pikachu is Pikachu.
Yeah.
I would bet people are going to be really interested in getting a hold of that particular ETB box. And so those might sell better than some of these last several sets have.
It should be interesting to see how many I'm going to be allocated.
Yeah.
Because it's an allocated product to me.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
Well, Moving on from the news, we've got our main topic for the week.
No, we're going to talk about One Piece again.
Oh, we want to talk One Piece?
One Piece.
Yeah,
I
what's
still
up?
can, I checked online this morning with my distributor Alliance Games, and it is still in a pre-order situation or back order, whatever the hell they call it. But there is no product available to me for One Piece, and that's of the new set. So last night I was a little bit proactive. Actually, I got on last night and checked it. I got on eBay and I bought two more boxes from that place up in Connecticut that I bought last time.
Hmm.
Fortunately, his price came down a little bit, but he still had over 700 boxes of. Uh, I guess the set was number 8, two legends,
Okay.
and I just got two boxes coming in, and that's just to support the people that are coming in to play on Saturday because they have a good time. I mean, we have anywhere between 6 to 11 people, 12 people playing One Piece, and I don't have enough really to sell, over the counter to people that come in the store, and
Right.
it's basically to support the people who come in to play in tournaments. And I had to bite the bullet. You know, I mean, it cost me probably 50% more than I would pay through my regular distributor. But, this guy on eBay had them and I bought them.
Yeah.
Over 700 boxes sold that he has.
You can't get one.
I couldn't get one.
That's just rough.
Oh, it pisses me off to no end, but that's
I mean,
beside
and
the
then the thing
point.
is, you've got money that you're waving at it. You're like, I want to spend money on
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Does that wrap it up for the news for you?
That wraps it up.
All right. Well, let's move over. You put down a note here that you thought our main topic could be disaster preparation.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. Definitely.
I think, for context, this episode is being recorded about a week and a half after Hurricane Helene has driven up through um, Gulf Coast Florida and into the Carolinas and caused massive damage
Yeah,
across 5 states, including huge flooding and devastation in
yeah,
western North Carolina.
yeah.
And so, that brings to mind this idea of like planning for catastrophe and particularly planning for like environmental catastrophe. So, flooding, fire, other types of storm damage.
Well, if you remember right, just before, let me see, Lord Kana came out last September
October.
17th or something
Yeah.
like that. There was a fire in Hawaii
Yeah.
that devastated that island. And I remember one store had just gotten in his Lorcana stock and he was wiped out. His store was obliterated with the fire. And those type of things happen. And there's nothing you can do to plan for it. Look at the pandemic. The pandemic shut down a lot of stores. Noah mentioned Helene a week and a half ago that devastated a good part of uh, western North Carolina and eastern Tennessee, whereby people are just isolated. There was a customer that came in yesterday, and her home was intact, but she has no services, no lights, no water, no internet. So her and her husband and kids came down and were staying with their parents in the local area. But she was telling me that the local store up there got flooded out. I mean, if that's your sole source of income and you get flooded out, wait for your insurance adjuster to come to help you. It's going to take months for them to come and get you and to give help to you and to give you the financial aid. That's if you have protection for loss prevention of wages,
Yeah.
included in your insurance. And this is something that people should look at their insurance policy and say, hey, if the business is closed because of a natural disaster, am I going to be paid for it? If it's a flood, is the business covered by flood insurance? Because a lot of places aren't covered by flood insurance.
Right.
And something like this, all these natural disasters, whether it be tornado or whether it be, uh, a wildfire or earthquake out in California or hurricane right now, Florida is in jeopardy. Uh, this Hurricane Milton, I guess it's called. It's
Yep.
still 800 miles away from the peninsula of Florida, but it's going to be if it's not already, a Category 4. Now, they said as it approaches land, and it's going to hit Tampa, it looks like, there's a cone that's coming across, and Orlando or Disney area is going to be affected. Now, some of the small stores, if they get flooded out, how are they going to come back if they don't have preparations, if they don't have money, or if they get some of the stock out of there in advance? You got to think ahead. Some of these bigger companies, Disney, they can sustain it. They'll close the park for a day or two, maybe clean up, or whatever they have to do, but they can sustain, not having that business for a couple of days, even if they had to close for a week, because they have so many other ancillary sources of income coming into their corporation. You, as an individual owner of a store, if this is your livelihood and you get hit with a catastrophe of any sort, whether it be a pandemic or a natural disaster like we talked about, you're hurting.
No, I think a couple of thoughts that come to my mind are first, preparation in terms of the different ways you can prepare. You've talked about insurance. You've talked about knowing your insurance policy.
Right.
As a small business owner, this is not something that you should just, find on the internet, click the buttons and get like your policy as the cookie cutter policy that comes out.
Yeah.
Find a local insurance salesperson and talk to them about what your store needs. The uniqueness of a card store is that you do have often a large physical inventory of value fluctuating assets, right? You've got cards that go up and down in value. You may have thousands of dollars worth of sealed product in the store at any given time. And so making sure that that's clear to your insurance broker as they're selling you a policy, and that you have coverage for like loss of inventory. But as you just mentioned, also, you're not just an inventory store, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need income. So if you have quit your job to open a store and then your store gets decimated in a flood and all of your inventory is gone and you spent all of your savings to stock the store, does your insurance cover that? Can you get lost wages? Do you have other access? Understanding what you have in your store, maintaining an inventory, that's another piece of preparation. Your insurance adjuster comes to you after one of these events and says, hey, let's go over what you lost in the store. And you're like, I don't know, it was like $10,000 worth of cards. They're like, okay, what kind?
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know. They're not going to help you. I mean, you've got a policy. Theoretically, you were insured, but insurance fraud's a real thing. And they're not just going to be like, oh, cool, you said so.
You got to justify every single thing that's potentially lost.
Yeah, you got to say, I had 12 boxes of Kamigawa. I got 13 boxes of Pokemon this. I got 7 boxes of Star Wars. I got 27 boxes of Lorcana. I got 102 starter decks.
And, if you, like, for instance, you mentioned Kamigawa. Say you, at that time, you paid $90 and Kamigawa boxes are $180. Your insurance company is not going to pay you $180. They're going to pay you $90. Because you have to show receipts for this product that you're missing. And if you have really high profile cards in your store and you're expecting a natural disaster to come, get them the hell out of there and take them with you.
Yeah.
Put them in a Ziploc bag or a waterproof bag of some sort and take them home with you or wherever you're going to go.
Well, be responsible for your own stuff.
Right.
Don't expect other people and other entities to come in and bail you out. After the fact, one thing that comes to my mind is that there are emergency and government relief programs that help businesses. And there's applications that you can turn in and you can try to get funding from the federal government, the state government, the local government to try to help recover your business. But those things require you to have information. You got to be able to show and keep records and say, like, I had this kind of sales, I had this kind of inventory. This is what I'm trying to recoup. This is the damage. This is what my insurance won't cover.
Yeah, and it takes time to get all this stuff processed.
And like you said, what do you do for the 4 months that you've got nothing?
Right. I mean, you're out of business, basically.
Your mortgage payment doesn't stop because your business shut down.
And you have to think about your customer base too.
Yeah.
Because if your customer base is pretty much local, they're affected by it too. So they're not going to have the money to come into, even if you had the product to
Yeah,
sell and you were open, they're not going to have the money to come in and spend.
that's right. I mean, but they might need a place to go to. I mean, some people, this is a mental health thing for some people.
True.
Like coming in and playing your weekly game of Commander helps people chill out and get unload some of the stress from their week. And so, maybe even being creative about finding ways to make that space available as soon as it's safe and possible to say, hey guys, we're back open. We want you in the store. You know, no commitment. I know you might not be able to buy something this week, but get in the store and play.
You,
Support each other.
you got to be able to uh, get out that information too.
Yeah.
Some of them may not even have internet. Some of them may not have power.
Yeah.
I know the people up in the mountains in North Carolina, looks like their power is going to be out for quite a while. Their whole infrastructure was destroyed. This
Yeah.
woman that came in yesterday with her daughter, she said it's going to. She was told it could be months before everything is set up the way it's supposed to be.
Well, I mean, they're going to have the disaster response plan, and the first thing's going to be open up transportation because they need to be able to get relief efforts in and out. They need to be able to get specialized equipment in and out. So their first thing they're going to work on is roads and power, and then they'll get to domestic utilities because they're going to get power to the main city centers where they're going to run operations from.
Mm-hmm.
There's also, fortunately, there's some really big businesses and stuff in the area that are affected by this. The Biltmore Estate is a huge part of Asheville's community and culture, and
They're not going to be open until October 15th.
Right.
They got hit. They got hit pretty hard.
That's a little bit shocking given where they are.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the Biltmore Village, which is associated with Biltmore, but I don't think run by Biltmore, is just outside of the property.
Right.
It's one of the big things you're seeing the videos from.
No, they got flooded out completely.
Yeah. And the river runs through the Biltmore Estate. So
there's a guy who had a business. He was standing across the street, video, showing the flood coming through, and he showed his building. I forgot what kind of business it was in Marshall, North Carolina, which is a little bit northeast of Asheville. It's on the river,
mm-hmm.
And after he took a before and after, when the floodwaters came down, the spot up on where the water line was 26 feet.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 3 stories.
There's a weather measurement station that is on the river there, and it captured, I think, 26 to 27 feet was the last depth it reported before it was ripped off of the ground and washed away.
I mean, right now, that Hurricane Milton is going to hit Florida. They're predicting up to 10 to 12 inches of rain in the Orlando area. Now, that's in the middle of the state.
Yeah.
So the coastal area, I don't think the storm surge is going to be as bad as it was with Helene, but it's still, a significant amount of water that's going to be coming out just from the rain.
Well, any storm surge is bad, though. Like 6 inches of storm surge can be a huge problem for downtown Tampa.
Well, they're predicting flooding in the Orlando area because of all the wetlands around.
Yeah. I think there's just a lot of that in terms of those specific disasters. The week before, there were tornadoes. Actually, no, it wasn't the week before. It wasn't right on the backside of this. Rocky Mount got hit by tornadoes as part of Helene.
Right.
And a strip mall, very similar to where many people put these shops, was completely destroyed.
Yeah, I remember seeing that before we went
away. They
away.
had the pictures of like the before and after. And that's another natural weather event that you've got to be prepared. Like, there's no way to forecast that. Mm-mm. There's no way to say, grab your stuff and get out of the store, right? You got to book it out of the store just to save your body. If you're in the store when something like that happens and you're watching your magic cards fly out the door in the wind.
Well, if there's like a potential for tornadoes,
yeah,
you usually know that in advance. So if you have a power of 9 sitting in your case, take the damn power of 9, shut the store, and go to hell home or wherever you're going to shelter and get out.
Your power 9 should be in a weather secure vault anyway.
It should be.
I mean,
but if you're going to have it in the store to display it,
yeah, and you're going to be in the store, you can put it away real quick.
Yeah, you could book the hell out.
Well, I mean, again, your first priority is you. You know, in that situation, tornadoes come on quick and go away
True,
quick.
but you'll have notification that there's a potential for tornadic activity. I mean,
Well,
not
sometimes
that you're
it's,
going to have a tornado.
I mean, sometimes it's really short notice, though. If they say
Yeah.
tornado warning, radar indicated tornado 3 miles south of you moving north, and you look out the window and there's the tornado, it's grab your stuff and go
Oh
time.
yeah. I mean, but you get notifications on your phone. Uh, there's potential for tornado watch until 6 o'clock tonight.
Yeah.
And if it's 11 o'clock in the afternoon, take your good stuff, pack it up, be ready to book when the time is right.
If you're under that severe of a weather problem, like if you've got a hurricane coming in or you've got tornadoes that are coming across, probably shouldn't be open anyway.
That's true.
I mean, it's irresponsible to invite a group of people into your shop and then have them possibly be injured or hurt in a weather event.
That's true.
There doesn't need to be a hurricane watch party in Tampa right now, getting ready to play like a set of Commander games, waiting for the hurricane to come
I
through.
bet you there's some bar in Tampa that's having a hurricane watch party that's playing Magic or one of the other games. I can almost guarantee it.
I would hope so, and if that's the case, I hope it's on the internet so we can find it. We need to put it on one of the future episodes.
That'd be great.
All right. Well, let's wrap up the main topic then for today. Be prepared, think through preparation, take steps to get insurance, take steps to document what you have, and then be smart about it. Let's talk briefly about your Disney trip, John.
It was fun. I mean, we left last. Let me see, the 27th on a Friday night after I closed the store. So we drove all night going down to Disney. Uh, we didn't have any bad weather. We had a lot of rain Friday. Did I say Thursday night? Friday night. We had a lot of rain that one Friday, and it subsided. So we had pretty good sailing down there. The only problem is I saw a lot of trees in southern South Carolina and northern Georgia that were down.
Yeah.
So it looks like they got hit hard, and there was a lot of pooling water off to the side, but the interstates were pretty good. So we made good time going down to Florida, and we had a good time. The only problem, it was hotter than hell. It was terrible. It was in the high 80s, low 90s every day. The humidity was terrible. So I would never go down again in September
Mm.
or any of the summer months. And it affected the kids, the poor kids, the younger kids especially, were screaming and hollering and crying because they were all red faced and everything. It was just miserable. And the only good thing for me is I wear hearing aids. So I was able to shut my hearing aids and still keep my ears plugged. And all I saw was mouths like this and screaming and hollering.
Yeah.
But all in all, it was a good trip. I mean, I almost killed myself on my scooter, my mobility scooter. It was my own fault, and I turned it over and rolled over, but I didn't get hurt too bad. I got scratched up. Let me see. Um, Disney sucks. All right. I mean, I like to go down there, but they're nickel and diming you to death.
Oh,
Absolutely nickel and diming you to death. I mean, the food prices are going to be going up. They're already up. But however, on the way back, we stopped at a Chick-fil-A and
Yeah.
we got two meals, and it came out to 1996. The meals that we had for dinner at the Riverside, I forgot what the hell it's called, the food court at Riverside, Port Orleans, was only 23 or $24. So it really wasn't that bad as far as the discrepancy with outside the park pricing.
Yeah.
Uh, so, you pay for the experience, and it was very crowded. The Mickey Halloween party, not so scary.
Yeah, you
Halloween
got to
party.
do that this time.
I talked to you about that before. That was exceptionally crowded because they only run it on a Tuesday, Thursday, and Wednesday nights, just like the Christmas party. However, the Thursday night prior to us getting there, we went on Sunday night last week. They had canceled it because of weather.
Okay.
I guess that Helene was there, and it was just uh, they canceled it. But what they did was they allowed people to reschedule into Sunday, which made Sunday much more crowded.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a good experience, and I don't think it was worth that much more money to go to it. It was like 20 to 25 bucks over a regular park ticket. But all in all, it was a good trip. Oh, and the disability access pass,
Yeah. How'd that work out?
I don't have one. Okay, I used to get one, but they changed the requirements for it now,
Okay.
and it's stupid the way it works. I'm surprised that they're not having more problems, because, for instance, say you're in line
Okay.
and you have to go to the bathroom. What you need to do is find a cast member, and they're supposed to escort you out of the line, bring you over to where the bathroom area is, deposit you there, and then when you come back, you can either go back into the line or you can wait at the entrance point where somebody from your party is, and you just join them at that time.
Okay.
But in an enclosed environment like Ratatouille, the ride,
Yeah.
you go through the hallways, like a maze. There's no cast members in there.
No.
I didn't see any cast member for 20 to 25 minutes. So if you had to go take a leak, you're in bad shape.
Right.
Because you can't go forward, you can't go backwards,
Yeah.
and it's kind of ridiculous the
Well,
way they
especially if
got
you're
it.
by yourself, right?
Right. It's ridiculous the way they got it set up. But other than that, it was a good trip. We're going down again in December because I had already booked it. I'm looking forward to going, but I'm not sure if I'm going to continue to go. Maybe Universal next time.
Ooh.
Yeah, maybe. And I like going to Disney because I had 2 days uh, for myself where we didn't have any planned events to go to,
Yeah.
and John wanted to do his thing, and I wanted to do my thing. So I did park hopping. I did, because I had an annual pass, I can go wherever I want. So I rode the monorail, I rode the ferry boat, I rode uh, the Skyliner, and I rode naturally the Disney buses, and I just took round trips between different resorts and checked out the resorts and things like that. So it was a relaxing environment for me. And the best Disney snack that I came up against was the Dole Whip float. Fantastic. It's not that much more money than a regular Dole Whip in a cup, but it's got orange juice in it with Dole Whip. Whether it's all pineapple or vanilla or swirl, where you get both of a little of each. That's the best snack in Disney. It sure beats those. Everybody loves those Disney, uh, the Mickey bars.
Yeah.
All they are is ice cream with chocolate,
Yeah.
and they charge you an arm and a leg for it.
I mean, ice cream and chocolate's pretty good.
Yeah, it is, but not for the amount of money. I mean, you can get that any place. You can get that in the grocery store, or go to Costco and buy a whole box of them. Regular or whatever the hell, Nestle's or whatever.
Yeah.
It's the same thing
Yeah.
basically.
No.
But other than that, it was fun. It was good, and I got the hell out of Dodge. But as a business owner, I still received a call from my distributor, my primary distributor, on Monday to check in with me to see what I needed this week. We had already talked about it, but he wanted to confirm it. So, as a business owner, I had to take that call and spend about 15 or 20 minutes, tending to my business. Even though I had somebody here at the store that was responsible, that ran the store, they still texted me. They still called me when they were here,
Yeah.
and that's responsibility of myself. I have to be available to them so they know what they're doing, and they did a great job for me, and I appreciate that. Um, but when I got back on Friday night, I came in Saturday morning, and I had to do the Yu-Gi-Oh premiere
Mm-hmm.
plus a whole bunch of other things. So I had to hustle my rear end off Saturday morning, getting in here, preparing everything,
Yeah.
and not correcting, but uh, adjusting some of the things that Thomas, who took over the store for me, didn't do. Like he didn't report uh, one of the Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments. I don't think he knew how to do it,
Right.
but that's fine. I did it, and but dang it, that's my responsibility as a store owner.
Yeah.
So
It's still yours.
it's still yours, and you still got to do it. All right, you ready? Snapple facts.
Yeah. Tell me what you got.
We missed Snapple facts. Do you know that tug of war was an Olympic sport at one time? Did you know that?
Tug of war?
Tug of war.
No, I didn't.
It was an Olympic sport in the early 1900s. Basically, it was from 1900 until 1920, but has not been included since. I wonder why.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know why, but yeah.
I mean, they still have like professional tug of war competitions. I watch them because I'm a degenerate internet user.
You're a sick puppy there, Noah. All right. Adults laugh only about 15 to 100 times a day, while preschoolers laugh an average of 300 times daily.
Okay, but I think 100 is still a lot.
What? You don't laugh 100 times during the day? You don't laugh at some of your clients?
I mean, I laugh at you.
You laugh at me. You laugh at the kids when they do something
I mean,
stupid.
yeah. I mean, I think 100 is a lot, though. I mean, I think that's a good
Well, it
number.
says 15 to 100.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous range. Let's just talk about that study.
All right.
15 to 100. They could also say 0 to 400.
But this is true.
Like, if you include the kids that are laughing 300 times a day, you've got 0 to 300. That's the range. That's silly.
I wonder how many preschoolers cry during the day like I experienced at Disney.
100%.
God.
They all cry.
Yeah.
I cry.
You ready for the next one?
Sit in the corner crying.
This is a real doozy. Snapple fact 941.
Nice.
In South Korea,
Okay.
this is the normal Korea, not
Yeah.
the Northern Korea, it is against the rules for a professional baseball player to wear cabbage leaves inside of his hat. Now, how the hell is
Probably makes him a better player.
wearing cabbage?
Clearly cheating.
Well, you probably stink like hell, so people stay away from you.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know how the hell they came up with that one. And since I was in Florida, and that's where a lot of flamingos are, not the plastic ones that are on everybody's lawns, but a group of flamingos is called a flamboyance.
I knew that.
You knew that?
Yeah,
How'd you know that? Because you're a nerd?
Well, I am a nerd. It's also my daughter's favorite animal.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Is it an animal or a bird?
They're both. Animal's a bigger classification than bird, isn't it?
I don't know. You're
Well, don't
the smart
challenge
one.
the nerd.
You're the smart one.
So, according to this, Babe Ruth used to put cabbage in his hat.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Instead of they didn't have ice packs, so they would put cabbage in his hat to keep cool. It had to be changed every couple of innings. He would put like a big leaf of cabbage in there. And in 2005, the Korean baseball organization ruled that cabbage in the baseball cap is alien material that disrupts the game. And this decision came after the pitcher's cap fell off twice in a game, and his cabbage leaves fell out, and then he wanted to replace them.
Are you kidding me?
That's what Google says.
Oh, my God.
And in Google, we trust.
That's unbelievable.
I just... what?
What exactly does cabbage leaves do? I mean, doesn't have any cooling propensity.
Apparently, it does. According to this, cabbage leaves have a substantial cooling effect. And if you have cooled cabbage leaves and then put them under your cap, it wicks heat away and cools. I don't know.
It turns into coleslaw.
Apparently. Oh my gosh.
You just laughed another time.
I haven't laughed at that one yet.
Yeah, you did. You smiled. Does that constitute a laugh? That's it. That's all I have for Snapple facts.
Apparently, this was a thing with Major League Baseball umpires until 2012.
Umpires used to do it?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
This is the most nuts thing. This is why we do Snapple facts. We come up with these crazy off-the-wall things. All right. Well, shall we start wrapping some things up here?
Sure enough.
All right. So, thank you everybody for joining us this week on Card Shop Insiders. We're very grateful for your support and listening. And if you like the show, please subscribe and follow us on all the different platforms. The podcast can be found on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube, as well as on social media at Card Shop Insiders on Instagram and X. On the screen, you should see our thank you and acknowledgement slide for our Patreon patrons: Ben, Grant, Brandon, Logan, Drayden, Jake, and Brian. Thank you so much for supporting us on Patreon. And if you like the show and would like to support us financially through Patreon, please feel free to do so. But if you don't have the ability or means to do that right now, please support us by going to our YouTube channel and our Spotify channel and liking our episodes, sharing comments on YouTube, and asking us some questions. Questions are helpful.
And please subscribe.
Subscribing is great. Anyway, until next time, we'll bring you more from behind the counter. Thank you, people.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you listening.